Howdy everybody, it's me, Mr. Tricks on the sticks, Mr. Tex on the decks, coming at you with a deck profile for BL Starmon. I've just come back from a store regional, 26 players, and I came second out of everybody, which means I will be going to Nationals. Yippee! I took BL Starmon, I went 4 wins, 1 draw, so undefeated BL Starmon list. This is the Apex competitive list, and other clickbait and superlatives that will definitely define this deck. Let's just get into the profile. You guys are sick of hearing me talk. I'm a terrible yapper. All right, we're gonna start with the Tama. It's 4 Pagumon. This egg is really good. It's incredible. So I mean, I'll describe this like people haven't played the deck, or if people are new, just because I have more time to do that now. Well, Pagumon's Inherit is when a source is loaded, or when a free muskets trait source is loaded specifically. This Digimon may evolve into either a Time Stranger or a free muskets in text Digimon for cost -2. This is very important because the deck's entire gimmick is about loading the free musket options underneath the stack. That's like, you know, you're loading your gun to fire the bullets, and this lets you evolve for cost -2 into pretty much all of the deck, which is really strong. The level 3s, ooh, we're on 4 of the EX7 Sparrowmon, 4 of the BT25 Gazi, and then I'll just bring the camera a little bit forward here. 2 of the Toyagamons. So for anybody who hasn't played BL Star back in EX7, the cards, well, the deck was not very good, but there were some cards that were very good, but your top end was BL Star Ace, Gundramon, and Magna Kidmon, who all pretty much did nothing. But the Sparrowmon is like a remnant of a bad deck, but is a really good card. Also, Volcanismon is on there. Foreshadowing Time Stranger? Maybe. But Sparrowmon's effect is that at the start of your main phase, you may place a free musket trait option from hand or trash underneath one of your Digimon to draw 1. Which, guys, remember the Pagumon that we were just talking about? There's how you get your option underneath. So you go evolve here, promote, start of main, load an option, draw 1, evolve for cost -2 into your level 4. Simple as that. It also has Retail as an Inherit, which is relevant sometimes. It's more of a deterrent rather than something you actively find. You know, if things like to battle, or I don't know, if your opponent is like bears or something like that, you know, Retail can sometimes be off-putting for them. Similarly, the Gazimon has Retail, but its effect, so it's a searcher, but it's on play and when moving, which is really good because it means you don't have to commit to this early board, and you don't feel bad for evolving it in back. You can just put it in back and then promote, and then when moving, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and you either add a free muskets in text, or you load a free muskets in trait underneath the Digimon. You know, the Pagumon triggers again because of this. And then Toyagu is the other EX7 card. It's on play, search top 3, add an option with a cost of 6, and a free muskets in text. So this picks up the BL Star duels because it's an option and a Digimon, and then it picks up something else. So anytime you hit like BL Star duel and something else, it's always a double hit, which always feels good. Inherit is +2k, which sometimes comes up. Some people have opted to play the EX7 Toyagu that's black rather than red, and that one would be pitch 1 musket in trait to draw 2. And some people see that as better. I think I opted for this because it keeps color for a specific option in case you really need it, and also it feels like it hits a bit more often, and the Inheritors feels more useful than Reboot, I find. Those are the level 3s. Moving on to the level 4s, we are on 4 Scopemon and 4 El Gatito Noir, Black Gatomon. Scopemon is honestly just a very good level 4. Like, it doesn't like control board or anything like that. It's on evolve, on play, place a musket or Atmon. Sometimes that does come up. Placing a musket or Atmon traits from hand or trash as one of your Digimon's bottom Digivolution cards to gain a memory. You know, as a pretty simple effect. No inherit because it's an Atmon card. They really want you to link these, but because it's like you will very rarely, if ever, link this. There's some instances where you can, but I personally wouldn't. But you know, if you get your stack and it's like this and something else, and then you go this to load another option, then you're now on like 2 options in stack with memory gain. You haven't actually spent any memory because you've evolved into this for 0 off of the Pagu inherit, and you've got more than enough memory efficiency to start pushing damage. This card, however, is insane. Black Gatomon is on evolve on play. 1 or fewer tamers. You may play 1 trait 3 Musketeers in text tamer without paying its cost. So this does include the obviously the Asanas are what you'd play off of this, but it also includes I think Violet in Boots. I forget which one. It's one of the memory setters, one of the old memory setters. Does mention free muskets, so if you did want to play that specific Violet for a memory setter, this could free play it. And then all turns while you have a tamer with free muskets and traits, this Digimon can evolve into a free muskets and trait for a cost of 4. Which includes, obviously Bielstar, but you could evolve Bielstar X into this, off of this, or you could even evolve Gundramon, and I would eventually assume we're getting a Magna Kid that's also a dual card. This card's going to see a lot of good longevity just because of how flexible it is. Also, it being 6k means you can play it out off of the Asanas on the Ruin mode and still be able to play the game from there. Assuming you get up in double hit by it, of course. And then the inherit is when attacking by placing 1 musket trait card from hand or trash as its evolution source, draw 1. Good cycle, and loading a source is going to be important for the late game because you need a lot of sources to go for that lethal push. Level 5, so we're not on too many. We're on 2 Satella and 3 Lady Devimon. Satella is another Atmon, so again, no inherit, but it's on evolve, load a source to give bounce, bot deck, and return to hand, return to bottom of the deck, and de-digivolve protection for until the end of the opponent's turn. This is very important because it's like 3 layers of relevant protection, and the deck doesn't mind being deleted in some cases, which I will get into why. I mean, this card is one of them, to be fair, but you don't mind being deleted because you can get cards back from trash. You're a purple deck at the end of the day. And then its other on evolve, but is also when attacking, is by trashing 1 free muskets, also Atmon. So this also applies to the previous effects where you can load an Atmon instead. But when attacking by trashing an At or a musket card from its sources, you can de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. Which you might think, well, I don't need to digivolve anything if I'm just blasting through everything, but sometimes it comes up. Sometimes you need to be able to take a threat lower down and then clear it, or sometimes you can go like take the lower 6 down to level 5 and then clear the low bodies and it around it. The digivolve comes up. It's mostly the protection. The protection is what's relevant here. And then Lady Devi, this card is excellent, but we run it at 3 because we don't tend to run a lot of level 5s in this deck. So it being at 3 is kind of like a, not to say it's the worst card of the BT25 cards, because I won't lie to you, all the BT25 musket cards are hits, but this is probably the one you have to take a little bit of a concession on just to make everything else tick. But Lady Devi is on play when evolve, by placing a musket trait in card from hand or trash as a source, draw 1, again good cycle, and then by trashing a source, and this is also when attacking, when digivolving. By trashing an option from any Digimon sources, you can cast an option from trash for cost -3. So, you load a source, draw 1, you can then trash that source to play it, or play something else. Usually it's the Bielstar duel, because it means you get to go for cost of 3, play the duel card, load a source, evolve from Lady Devi into Bielstar, and kind of go from there. And then its inherit is on delete, play a level 4 low musket in text. Which means you can play Black Gato if you miss something else in it to play, or you can play Scobon to print an extra memory. Camera's moving. The level 6, I'll go for the level 6 muskets first, just because these are the most relevant 6s you'll see. We've got 4 Bielstar Dual and 2 Bielstar X antibodies. This card is excellent. This is probably one of the best dual cards they've printed. She is Blocker. When digivolving when attacking, use a free musket trait from hand or Time Stranger, so she can go in Time Stranger deck as well. Use it from hand or sources without paying costs, so You know, if you're loading sources already from different inherits, by the time you get to here, you can then like cast an option from sources, and it usually goes back under. And then when digivolving, when attacking, counter timing, which, you know, it's not an ace, so you think, oh, counter timing, surely that's just for aces, right? No, counter timing also applies for regular Digimon now, guys. With counter timing, by trashing one option card from any of your Digimon's Digivolution cards, or link cards, so, you know, again, if it's a Time Stranger deck and you've got the Time Stranger link options, you can trash that instead, then it unsuspends, which is very good, because it means you can go block and then counter time, you know, if another attack comes through, you can go counter timing, trash to unsuspend, block again. I won't hold you, the counter timing very rarely comes up, but again, like the retaliation inherits, it's another deterrent. It's one of those where it's like, you can even go counter timing, trash to unsuspend, even if you're standing upright, and if you trash a specific option, sometimes like Prince of Memory or Gaxa Body before it gets a chance to do anything. Very versatile card, and it's like your half of your win condition, and then this is your other half of your win condition, which is BL Star X Antibody. This is a excellent secret rare printed for a very poor deck at the time. This card is when digivolving, play an option from hand with 3 muskets in its text without paying the cost, and then when digivolving, when attacking, once per turn. By trashing 2 sources with the 3 muskets traits from this Digimon Digivolution card, delete an opponent's highest level and trash the opponent's top security. So the idea here is that you've done like maybe 1 damage with BL Star, because I think you have to do at least 1 with something. You trash a source to unsuspend, you go into BL Star X, you play an option, then you trash 2 to burn a top, and then you trash another 2 to burn another 1 when attacking. She is mostly a game ender. She can sometimes be used to, you know, control the board and like clear a lot of threats. You do like, if you do this into this, obviously you lose your blocker, so you're going to be wary of that. If you don't lose your blocker in counter timing, you lose that a bit of interaction. But yeah, she's 8 times out of 10 a game ender, and just like the part of the reason why you never really ever need to interact with security outside of your 1 chip damage. She's, you know, very good secret rare, and now has a deck that lets her make good use of her abilities. The other 6s, we're on 2 Kalismon and 1 Diana. Now, these are not muskets. What are they doing in here? I just really like bears, guys. This doesn't actually do anything for the deck, right? Wrong. This card is excellent for muskets. Kalismon is Reboot Blocker Fortitude. On play when digivolving when attacking, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon attainments, and then lock one of your opponent's Digimon attainments until the end of their turn. And all that means, for anybody who doesn't know terminology, means is that when something turns sideways, usually it turns up, right? But because this is locking it, it means that during the unsuspend phase, something doesn't get to turn back up, right? So it will stay locked. And that's relevant for Tamers in particular, because a lot of Tamers effects tend to want to suspend to activate like an additional effect. And for some Digimon, it means they can't like turn back upright to block, or it means they can't turn upright to push damage or trigger when attacking. Blah 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 blah. That's a good part of effects that you get basically every turn that this Kalismon is live, right? But the all turns of this effect is when an effect plays or digivolves any Digimon, so that includes yours or your opponent's. You de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, then you may battle one of your opponent's Digimon. And for anybody who doesn't know, battle, for like to put it shortly, is basically it's as close to non-effect deletion as this game can kind of give. It's basically just like when you would attack a Digimon and then all effects resolve, you then battle the Digimon. All battle the Digimon is saying here is that you skip all of the like the attack formalities and you just go, right, we're battling, so you know this is going to compare DP with this, for example, and if it's taller, it's going to be deleted by battle. That's all that is. It plays around stuff that is like, I'm immune to Digimon effects, and then you don't care, didn't ask, fight me. But this is an all turns floodgate, so if your opponent tries to trigger Time Stranger, Rookie Evolve for 0, or if they're playing off of Asuna, or they're doing anything that plays by effect and then doesn't clear the Callus will again get to go, okay, de-digivolve it by 1 and then I'll battle it. So it's a very good interruptive. And when combined with Satellamon, you get Bounce Bot Deck de-digivolve protection. So all of a sudden this card is now really annoying to deal with because it has 3 layers of protection. And if you delete it, it has Fortitude and it comes back. And you might think, okay, well you deal with 1 Fortitude, that's fine, right? Wrong. Because then you get to go Scope effect to load an option underneath one of your Digimon. It doesn't care what you load it underneath, so you load it back under the Talisman, and Talisman has a source again for Fortitude. So you can reload the Fortitude and have him be an annoying prat again. Just a very strong card overall for the deck. And it's time trained attack, so you know it combines well with it can evolve for 2 costs over from the Pokemon effect. One Diana for similar reasons to Kalis. Diana's a bit less of a floodgate in the sense that she'll hit a strong floodgate once, and then her value afterwards comes from source stripping the opponent's Digimon before they get to their sort of like pop-off part. Particularly good against Time Stranger. Sorry, I should actually read what the effect does. So it's when this Digimon would be played, so this is an Olympus card and their gimmicks are all being played for reduced cost depending on the board state. In this case, if the opponent has a level 6 or higher Digimon on the board, reduce the play cost of this by 5. So you can pay 7 to get an on-play or when Digivolving. None of your opponent's Digimon with 1 or fewer sources can suspend until their turn ends, then delete one of their unsuspended Digimon. So that's very good in the sense that, you know, if your opponent is playing a lot of like a Mega Zoo deck, or a deck that relies on, you know, not getting rid of the sources in any way, then you can sort of like you put them on lock for a turn, and then it's all turns when a Digimon is played or evolves, doesn't care how and doesn't care who. All turns, it's source strip any 4 Digivolution sources from your opponent's Digimon, and then, you know, attempt to DNA integrate Snowman, which, surprise, surprise, this deck is not running and does not have access to. You know, you can't. There's no Grace Nova DNA. But the important part here is that you can catch people trying to evolve and start their combo, and you go, okay, I'm going to take your inherits, and if the floodgate's up, then they don't get to swing. But more importantly, if it means that they have a specific inherits from the egg or a level 3 that they need to be in that stack to, you know, start comboing, you can take that away from them before they get a chance to pop off in some cases. That is all of the Digimon. No Ruin Mode, which might surprise some of you. I don't hate Ruin Mode, I just thought it more of a judgment call was that I kind of felt like Ruin Mode wasn't needed. You know, it's not the be all end all. It's one of those where if you want to put Ruin Mode in, you can put Ruin Mode in. You know, I said it was the apex competitive list before. That is a fat lie, guys. It's just the deck's just very broken. But we are on 4 of each Asuna. God, where to start with these cards? So this is on play, pitch 1, draw 2, and then start of your turn. So scramble timing. If you have 4 or less memory, you can bot deck to play either an Asuna from trash, or 3 Muskets in text from trash, or a Time Stranger in trash that is level 4 or lower. So because it's trash 1, draw 2, so you can trash an Asuna, and then start a turn, bot deck the Asuna to play the Asuna from trash. And that's sort of like, it's kind of like you've established this on less memory, but you've also drawn 2 cards. You can trash a Searcher and put that back to then search 2. You can trash the Black Gato to draw 2. If you find an Asuna, you can float into the Black Gato to play the Asuna and kind of catch you the same thing. Just a very flexible card. The issue you will find is that sometimes you will be on 2 of these on the field, and your opponent will do the very smart thing, and people will say, well, if I'm doing this, then surely I'm throwing the game anyway. But if you're at 5 memory, these don't trigger, and they're kind of just doing nothing on the board until then. And you know, 5 memory is a lot to pass over, I appreciate that, but 5 memory and no access to the trash is probably better than 1 memory and bot deck 2 to gain like 6 memories worth of value at the bare minimum. Or if you've got like 2 out of these Asuna teams, that's 8 memory, and then they print 2 more. So it's like, you either pay 5 and stop these from happening, or you set to 1 and then let them print a bare minimum of 6 memory by playing two rookies on the board. It's very straight, you know, the card's very straightforward. Not really much to say about it, but this card, this Asuna, holy moly, this card is giga broken. So start of main, trash 1 with Muskets in text or Time Stranger trait from hand to draw 1, gain 1. And then during the main phase, by suspending this Tamer and trashing an option from either hand or Digivolution sources, you can evolve from hand or trash for cost -1. Now you might think, well, that's a pretty good effect, right? You know, you can evolve from hand or trash for cost -1. but it also lets you evolve. So it evolves 3 Muskets or Time Changer Digimon. So I like how we were saying Calismon's very good. This is an effect evolution that triggers Calismon, and you can evolve from trash. So if either of these end up in trash, you can just get them back with the tamer. And if you have multiple of these tamers out, which ideally you do, then in some cases you kind of get to like go suspend, make the 5 that is in trash, suspend, make the 6 that's in trash, all for a cost minus of total 2, plus more with the Hurricane Screwshot, which I will reveal in a minute. Printing more memory on top of that, so the deck just becomes this really efficient pile of cards once these tamers hit the board. But like the more of these hit the board, the more the game just accelerates out the opponent's controls. Sometimes I've had like 3 of these out, and it's like you got a 4 memory at the start of your main phase in some cases, and you just get to play from literally nowhere because you're cycling 3 cards per turn, you're printing 20 million memory, and you just get to evolve from trash by doing stuff like that. The card is ridiculous. Now, once again, the BT25 cards are incredible hits. Now, shout out to my goat Donkey Nog, 1 Louis. Now, you might be thinking why we're not running 4. It's because the card is limited, and for good fucking reason. This card, fucking remnant of, I think this card was released in like, I want to say BT14 format. We did not know what what was about to hit us in that format. This card is on play, move one of your level 3 or higher Digimon from the breeding area to the battle area. And then your turn when one of your Digimon moves from the breeding area to the battle area by suspending the tamer, gain 1. Why is this being used in Muskets? It's because Bandai have recently been printing, I keep looking at the camera, I do apologize, printing rookies and some 4s in that regard with the when moving trigger. And for anybody that doesn't know, if you've stumbled upon this video somehow, when moving is when you move from the raising area to the battle area. So what ends up happening is that you get yourself in a situation where you've been taken off board, and you hatch your Tama, right? And Louis in hand. You get to go Gazi for 0. Let's say we're on 2 memory, and then we go Louis for 3. We promote, we suspend to gain a memory, and then we go when moving top 3 reveal. And ideally, I'll do it here, I guess, is like show you kind of what the combo is. You can reveal, like, let's say we reveal Beelstar Duel. We'll go, okay, I'm going to load this underneath the Gazi, and then the Pagumon triggers, and then you get to go into a level 4. Let's say you go into like Gato, or you go into Scopemon and print another memory, for example. And all of a sudden, you're playing the game. It's kind of like a rush body from nowhere, but it's a lot better because it's a rush body with an egg inherit that you didn't have before. You just get to accelerate like so much advantage that way. So as a one-off, I found it so many times during the store tournament, the store regional, and because you draw and cycle so many cards as well, you don't super care if you bot deck this early on, because in a longer game you will find it eventually, and this deck can fight for quite a while, which I think is really impressive with the deck. But yeah, 1 Louis, like the deck doesn't have access to rush otherwise, so like why not have a tempo pusher? You push. You accelerate your kill clock by 1 turn exactly. And then we have the Musket options. So we're on 4 Hurricane Screwshots, 3 Bind Red Trigger, and 1 Blitz. Hurricane Screwshot is main effect, pop a level 3, 4, or 5, then place underneath a Musket Digimon, and then when it's trashed from a source, you gain a memory. So this is like the Tumblemon. This is the memory printer car, which you can trash and then load and then trash again. Bind Red is on use, burn the top of security, just pretty simple as. And Durblitz is pop the lowest. Bind Red Trigger when trashed from sources pop to 7k, and Durblitz when trashed from sources is D-Digivolve 1. So I mean, this is the problem card, which like. This is 100% the problem card. So once again, I'm remnant of EX7, where the deck was not great, but some of the cards were very good. This card is insane. The problem with EX7 back then is that it didn't have a way to continuously load Viz underneath sources and multiply trash it over like the course of 1 turn. Like I've had turns with the new cards where I've trashed this like 3 times in 1 turn. It's ridiculous. And if you get multiple of them out, you can just kind of like loop like multiples of them. It's not as explosive as say Tumblemon, because Tumblemon you get to load like 2 and trash 2 to gain 2, so it's like there's more advantage for multiple copies of Tumblemon being in trash than there is to Hurricane Screwshot. But the difference there is that like you can aggressively cycle for this and get this in trash, and then just like constantly loop it between your Digimon. It's just very broken, honestly. I think this is probably the card they will look at to get hit. Like, if you take 3 of these away, you then have to like, you can still find this to loop it, but you're on 1 copy at that point, and it's like, the efficiency kind of like drops a little bit. Bind Red Trigger is very good. Like, burning a security means you never have to meaningfully interact with most of your opponent's security. If your 1 chip damage is something bad, it was, it wasn't meant to be. But like, Bind Red in conjunction with the BL Star to cast it, and then the BL Star X to cast another one, is 4 trash security between them. And then, actually it might even be 5. Because you go swing cast, that's 2. Cast it. Yeah, it's 5. It's burn. No, sorry, my math is terrible. It's burn 4 security, and then this is your 1 chip damage. But like, it's burn 4, 1 chip, and then this is doing the last damage for game. So ideally, you want to find like 2 of these in hand. You want to keep the Bind Reds in hand. Ideally, you can load 1 underneath sources because the BL Star dual can play it from sources, but you want to keep at least 1 in hand and 1 in sources to cast. Well, in some cases, it's like if you keep them in hand just to be on the safe side, then you can do it that way. Also, casting from hand whilst you already have sources makes your BL Star X easier to kill because you need at least 4 sources to trash 2. So if you go like here, you need like 1 more source, which you probably accrued through either Scopemon, Satellamon, Sparrowmon, stuff like that. And then Durblitz is another kill option. It pops the lowest. D-Digivolve's 1. Like D-Digivolve is sometimes relevant. In this case, it's an option D-Digivolve, so anything that is immune to like Digimon effects means you can go like, okay, I'll D-Digivolve it first and then do something. It's like very good into Reboot, because Reboot stops you from activating options, but it doesn't stop the trash effect of the option. So if you're facing Reboot and they hit you with Emergency Shutdown Program, you can still go, okay, trash Durblitz to D-Digivolve 1, and then if you loop it a couple times to get them low enough to then go trash Bind Red Trigger to pop a 7k, you can clear the body that way, but one of those. Or, you cast Bind Red to pop the 3, 4, and 5, and if they don't have the protection, Atmon, the Charismon I think it is, then, that's a cleaner out. And then finally, 1 Purple Scramble. I saw this got played at Barcelona Regionals, Andre, who ended up winning the tournament, and I was quite impressed with its inclusion. The reason it's in here is that, as I was sort of saying before, and kind of what some people don't really recognize, or it's kind of what's making, like, not defining what a good player is at the moment, but like, it's defining what a player with good game sense is doing, is that when there's 2 of these on board and you get put to 5, and you don't have the 4-cost Asuna, the BL Star gets really stuck because it can't get rid of these for Black Gatomon to play new Asunas. So what ends up happening is that your free conversion off of this is stuck for a few turns, right? Volcanus is probably the best deck at the moment that puts you to like 5 or more while doing something meaningful. You've also got Time Stranger like toolbox as well, because the plethora of 6s that they can slam for 7 cost is meaningful. So to combat this, we have a Purple Scramble, which doesn't care about memory thresholds. You will still get the free body if your opponent is playing to board. So either they have to play to board and trigger the scramble, or they don't play to board and somehow pass you to 5 without putting a body on board to trigger the scrambles. And if they don't do that and put you to 4 or less, then you trigger both Asunas and you pop off. But like, if you find both of these, then you're in just a much better position to actually play the game next turn. Like, even though you're not getting value here, you can still, you can scramble, put something back to the top, play a body. Maybe if it's the Gazimon, you search the body, or if you play Sparrowmon, you get to, what's it called? You get to go start a main, load a source to draw 1. Yeah, it's more flexible. Also, at worst, the Purple Scramble is it's in theory, it's another copy of Asuna because they're both the same memory efficiency. So sometimes if you have an Asuna on board, you can go like scramble first to evolve for 2 into like usually the level 5. Maybe load a source to draw a card or gain immunity, and then you can go here to evolve from trash. It just means you can save a usage of the Asuna for something that you absolutely need, rather than being stuck with like, oh, I had to evolve for 3 first, and that's going to pass turn, for example. And that's the full list. Yeah. So now I'm going to go into my matchups. So it's 5 rounds for 26 players. As I said before, it was 4 wins and 1 draw. My first round was Rocks. I have never low rolled quite as badly as I have that match. Like I kind of bricked game 1. In fact, no, I giga bricked game 1. I think that was the problem. Was I bricked game 1 and found nothing. I just couldn't stop the onslaught of. He kept establishing the pyramid that pops the tamers, which was like, in fairness, you know, it's pretty good into me specifically, because like popping the lowest tamer, I can never establish a board state of you know, the Asunas couldn't float anything back. It would eventually mean that my 4-cost Asunas would get popped, which is, you know, I would eventually lose value, and I just wasn't drawing rookies. So it's like, I generally couldn't do anything. So I went to game 2. I think I bricked again, but I managed to dig my way out of it. Fortunately, I couldn't tell you for the life of me how I did it. I think it might have been Gazi Luri, unironically, but I can't, you know. I think I was like, I was kind of prepared for. I was accepting my fate, kind of like. But no, fortunately, I managed to dig my way out of that one, which I generally so useful information that I can't remember how I did that right. Game 3, I think I didn't low roll as badly, but I was missing a 4 for 8. Oh no, sorry, that was game 2. I was missing a 4 for ages, but I eventually I had enough value. I was also very fortunate. Game 2 is that they didn't have the 5. They didn't have Proganomon off of the emblem. They unfortunately did trash the emblem, so I did shark them against my my will. But you know, it's a regional, so yeah, you have to be that guy, unfortunately. The guy on the side, which is like, if it was the same for me, and my opponent goes, no, you put it in the emblem in trash, and then try to take it back, I'd be like, I'm sorry, mate. And then, you know, if the opponent says, sorry, mate, you can't have that, I'd be like, yeah, that's fair enough, I did put it there. Then, game 3, I genuinely couldn't. I think he promoted early and then didn't find a 5, and I was able to kind of establish a board state from there. There was a bit more back and forth. I think he found the Icemons to like prevent the Digivolve. I think I established a Talisman to keep him unlocked for a couple turns, and then from that point, I just kind of ground the game out until I had a kill line that didn't involve triggering like the Proganomons, or not the Proganomons, the Fragment Pyramid effects and stuff like that. So yeah, I managed to claw my way out of that one. That was a miserable game for me. Round 2 was Medusa. Medusa's still a very scary deck, guys. Breaked game 1. It seems to be the theme of the day. You know, it's just giga low rolled, no rookie. Oh, it was no rookie. I think I just opened too slow. And by the time it came to like me trying to pop off, I didn't have pieces, so they kind of had free agency to make a board, establish like I think it was a situation where I had 2 bodies that they weren't popping, and then they put on 2 petrification tokens, then Crimson Blazing for 2, and I'm like, yeah, we'll just go next. Game 2, they were during game 2 their pop off turn, they were missing Medusa, so they conceded. And then game 3, I had to put them on Better Habit, because I think I kind of I made a line that wasn't very defensive, but like at that point I was like, I had to kill here or I would just lose. I couldn't kill, so I was just like, I'll do the most safe damage that I can and just put them on Better Habit. They didn't have, so I was very fortunate because I was at 1 security at this point, so I'd cleared them back. But they didn't have a Medusa, and they didn't have, so they swung with the Lamia for the final check, and it lived. and then they didn't have like Cyclone because they had the thingy tamer in play as well, and they didn't have Cyclone Mon. So like if they had Cyclone Mon, then you know that would have been game. So very fortunate that I even got through that, and then you know, he conceded after that because I don't think he had a way to clear board, which you know, is fair enough. Yeah, just very fortunate again. I don't think I should be having my invite really, but happens. Round 3 was against Time Stranger Angels. Bless Trevor. They just like they low rolled game 1. No, they didn't low roll game 1, but here's what happened. She swung an Angemon whilst another Patamon was out, or it might have even been Pegasus. It was one of the two, and hits a Durablitz, and it kills the Patamon, so they can't then go, you know, Evo for 2, DNA into Shack, and go from there. And from that point, I have all the agency in the world to just take them off board. I don't even think they have like a tamer or anything like that to re-establish anything. So at that point, it was just a case of when it got back to my turn, I just made the All-Star Rex and further. You gotta be careful in the Angels matchup because the security that you burn can spawn stuff where, you know, the Angels with the Ascension trait all spawn stuff if they're burned from security. So I don't think there's anything meaningful they can spit out, but if you don't kill them that turn and they spat out like 2 bodies that you haven't cleared, it's like you're probably gonna get shot next turn. So always make sure that if you're going for the kill, you know, you have everything, I guess is the lesson there. Game 2, they did low roll. They found no rookie. They found one on turn 2, but by the time I think I had a Callus Mon established at that point, and it was like, if you can't clear the Callus with, you know, relevant protection, you're just gonna struggle. She did clear it with Juno, but by that point it was like, if you're not killing with Time Stranger Angels on the turn you're going, you just struggle to like kind of reestablish. If you get taken off board, you just struggle to reestablish. She did put me under Venus, which was like scary at first. But then I drew into Dianamon, and I was like, the situation has solved itself. I just like pop the Juno, prevent the Venus and the body next to it from spending. I was at 5 memory, so I put them to 2. And again, like, because you can't do anything from that position, it's like, what do you do there? Like, the Dynamon's like staring you down, you can't de-evolve it, you can't take it off board because the bodies on the border are not doing anything. And at that point, it was just a case of promoting into, you know, full combo and then winning from there. Round 4 was on the X's Jambo. Now, if you ask me, he's kind of a bozo. You know, he's kind of a chud. If I'm being completely honest. But you know, I gotta be nice to him in person. It's like, he was on Time Stranger box too. Do you know what? I actually forget I don't know what you call it nowadays. I'm just going to call it Time Stranger Slop. It's all slop. Time Stranger is all slop. Remember that, guys. It was a draw. This was the only draw. It went to time. Game 1 was like a 25-minute game that we ground out. I genuinely ran out of resources. I had to hope he somehow went brain dead on the last action of the game, where I played a Scope Mon to load an option and just hoped he didn't die under it because I had literally no resources left. I needed that option to stick in order to like play the game, but no, he's actually a good player, would you believe? Many people are saying this. Game 2 was more of a quick and done. He didn't find the Duo Tamer, which is constantly surprising me how good that card is. That card is a house. But because he didn't establish the Duo Tamer, it deprived him of a lot of value. So I'm not going to say I'm not going to say that was an easy game too. It was quick because I found my pieces before he did, and sometimes BL Star just like kill people before they get a chance to establish their setup. Game 3 was very back and forth. I think if game 1 didn't take so long, Jambo probably wins that game out of the sheer fact that he was outvaluing me as well as locking down my tamers with Venus and Homeros. I think he also maybe could have won before time had been called. he kind of like a bit. I mean, we were both rushing. We were both in like a flow state at that point. And like when it got to his turn, he went for like very quick swings. I think he may have forgotten that BL Star was both a blocker with counter timing and that bind red trigger was in sources. So I was able to stop 2 damage, which was relevant because I had 4 security. And then by the time he was like continuing his turn to try and find a way to lethal the rest of it, time had just been called. So I mean, it's unfortunate. I say it's unfortunate. It's one of those where because game 1 was an actual game instead of just like 2 people slow playing or something like that. It was an actual grind fest of a game where there was interaction versus interaction. It was one of those where, under different circumstances, he probably would have won that. But sometimes that's card games, you know. Round 5 was against Vortex. They were on Vulcanus. I have had a lot of bad times against Vulcanus with Jill kicking my ass with it. So I know what to expect with Vulcanus. I haven't played the matchup with Jill versus like BL Star, but I have tested his list against my list to kind of get some intricacies of how that matchup was played. So I was prepared for this one, and I kind of knew that if I could stop chip damage on turn 2 and establish a body that couldn't be de-digivolved, it would be hard for the Vulcanus to play through it cleanly unless they had like relevant pieces, which, you know, Vulcanus can play through a lot of different situations. They, you know, they have more than enough flexibility at their disposal, but it's not always in your hands sometimes, and you know, like variance will, you just have to kind of play to the idea that variance will hopefully see you through, and in some cases it did. So game 1 I established a unde-digivolvable BL Star and a Satella next to it, which is what was providing the immunity. He wasn't able to clear both and then trigger Ignition Flare to get rid of the scramble, but also I think I did draw into Louis, which kind of was like, aha, I get to hatch, promote, and go full combo because you passed me to 7, you know. Louis is such a good card in this matchup because they put passes so much. Game 2, I kept forgetting that Factorial gave blocker, so I kept going for like, there was 100% a line I could have won if I had made BL Star X first to take the body off the board, but I swung the black guy, so thinking, okay, here's my chip damage to get the last damage, and then he blocks and I'm like, oh yeah, he has blocker, what am I doing? So definitely sequencing issue on my part. I should be more focused, but you know, round 5, it's your winning in. There's a lot on the line. You know, it's very easy to sort of miss these sort of things. But I'm sure if this was on YouTube, they'll be like, "Oh, why did he just do the correct thing? Is he foolish?" The answer is yes. But game 3, I established de-digivolve immune Callus. Again, the whole point of that was like, I didn't mind if the Callus went the turn after. The point was that I was stemming a damage as well as putting a Dankadan on lock until he established a second one, which he did. But doing that meant he wasn't. He had to give a lot of memory to try and deal with this Callus, and if he couldn't deal with it the turn that he wanted to, then the next turn would have been the issue. You know, he would have had to like. He could clear it next turn, but because he's not done that first check damage, he's never killing me from 5, which is the important part. It meant that I knew I had another turn, barring some like wacky kind of tech that he would have had. It was getting really dark. There we go. Then at that point, it was like I was ready to promote. He established a Vulcanus and did. I think he did all. Yeah, he did all my damage because he went load to. I can't remember the name. Divine Arms. Swing 3 checks. That was de-digivolvable at that point. Load Tidal Stream to then unsuspend, do 2 more checks after Dankadan. But like at that point, I'm on 7 memory. I'm ready to promote and push out, and you know I've got bind red triggers in hand. I think he was on 3 security at that point as well. So the lethal line was a lot easier for me to sort of go for. So yeah, I ended up winning that game, and it was me and Jambo as basically the only undefeateds for the tournament. So me and Jambo will be at Nationals. I don't know where that is. It's been it's not been announced yet, I suppose. So yeah, you know, the rest of the year's a vacation at this point. I don't know, I'll be playing for Rotherham. I don't even know if I need to go to Rotherham anymore. But I'll probably go anyway because, guys, I kind of love this game. You know, the game's kind of fun. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we run. Maybe we'll run some dog water pile and see how far it gets me. Or maybe I'll try hard again and give people pass downs. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this gave you some insight into how good BL Star is at the moment. This deck is insane. There's just like no bad card in this deck. And even like the non-musket cards are all really good. If you were like, if you were ever at any point unsure whether or not muskets was the real deal, please just look at any previous results as well as mine, and you can tell this deck is just like this. I think this deck is the best deck in the format right now. If it's not the best deck in the format, it's close to being the best deck in the format. It's so efficient. It's too efficient. It's like ridiculous, insane deck, but very fun, and not just like a. I know people like to tout on about don't do OTK slop, oh ruining my game. This is barely. This can sometimes turn to OTK, and even then, it's like your hand has to be giga custom. This is an actual interactive deck that like can fight for board every turn, which is why I think it's really interesting and cool design. But you know, slay me if you think I'm wrong, or leave a comment. Ooh, you want to leave a comment about how you think I'm wrong. Ooh. Lastly, I want to give some shout-outs to the people. Well, first of all, the Misplay team for helping me practice with the deck. Helping me, just think about the matchups and all that. I want to shout out everybody who attended the store regional, including all the Fanboy3 lot, and everybody who made the time to come down. Really unfortunate that it was both one of the warmest weeks in UK history, and if you didn't get your invite, the fact it was a 32-man, it was 26 players, but it was 32 cap. We had like 7 people drop, which was unfortunate, but the heat wave's going to do that. But thank you for making the time to come down and support. It is always appreciated to see the community actually getting involved and keeping going to tournaments. Finally, I want to shout out to my brother, Greatness Beam, for lending me the deck. This deck is not mine. Are you kidding me? You think I would actually spend money on BL Star X Antibody? That card is like 50 quid a pop. That's insane. If my brother didn't invest in this deck like early and originally, I would not be playing this. As broken as the deck is, you would not catch me spending £100 on 2 secret rares for this deck. So huge shout out to my brother who has basically enabled me to get this invite to Nationals. So it's kind of like an homage to him and his the jangling keys to hold on. Where's Bielsa? Jangling keys to come back. Ooh, you want to come back so badly, Adam. Ooh, look at this card. Ooh, you want to resolve Bielsa cards so much. Ooh, look at this card. It's so good. That'll definitely work, guys. Trust. Anyways, thank you for watching. I will hopefully see you on the next video, whenever that might be. Bye-bye.